What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today, in the new year, 2021, we're going to be talking about our top 8 kills of 2020. Happy New Year, guys, and welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back to hang out with me. I want to say I hope you had a very safe and wonderful New Year celebration, and hopefully this year will be amazing. Although 2020 wasn't too bad, in the form of movies. And I just put out a top 30 horror movies of 2020 on our podcast, which you can link down below. And I hope you check it out because I spent a long time putting that one together, and it was very difficult. I try to mix and match indies and mainstream, so it's really just a matter of what my tastes are, but hopefully it'll give you some ideas of some new movies. Now, moving forward, there are going to be spoilers here in this video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the list of the movies down below so that you don't spoil anything for you, and that way I'll put the timestamps on them. That way you don't spoil anything, but these are definitely spoilers because they have parts in the movie that you will want to see in these movies. Now, obviously, these are my personal picks of the top 8 kills of 2020. Did I see every single damn movie that came out in 2020? No. And neither did you. But I certainly watched hundreds of movies last year, whether I recorded a review for them, did it on the podcast, or just watched it on my own to see which movies really made the list. So I also want to mention that not all these kills necessarily have to do with how good the gore is, but also how much impact they have on you as a viewer. Also, some of these movies made my top 10 lists. Some of them didn't. That's how I went about doing my top 8 list. It was originally 15, but let's get into it.
Number 8.
Anything for Jackson was one of my favorite movies this past year. I loved its crazy fucking world. It was about a older Satanist couple who are trying to rebirth their dead grandson into the unborn stomach of a pregnant woman. They kidnap her, and all hell breaks loose, and it gets way worse. And all the people around them, of course, start getting infected, like the snowblower guy in Anything for Jackson.
Did it right! Jackson's in there!
Now, I've never owned a snowblower, but goddamn, that's a fucking cool-ass kill. Thanks for donating your skull.
Number 7.
Come to Daddy came out this year and was a kind of a dark comedy, odd mix of different types of genres, really, with a lot of really strong characters. It's essentially about a guy named Norval, played by Elijah Woods, who goes to visit his estranged father, who he's never seen since he was 5 years old. We, of course, find out that that is not the legend Stephen McHattie, but his real father, and he's been kidnapped in the basement. He goes chasing after one of the guys who is holding his father hostage there to see what the hell's going on and try to kill him. When the guy realizes who he is, he drives off in a panic and hits a sign cutting the top right portion of his head off. Norval makes it over after being attacked by this guy and used a receipt holder to basically puncture his stomach 3 times and his mouth from one side to the other. Nowhere to be found. And he sees him walking down the street and he says, "Your mother was a hooker. I had sex with her many times." And Norval takes it out of his mouth and doink.
Arthur.
Probably one of the easiest kills that I've seen, but that's a what the fuck kill if I've ever seen one. So I had to add it to my top list here. What do you guys think? Simple, neat, dead.
Number 6.
Kids do the damnedest things, don't they? Well, in Becky from this last year, Kevin James, a neo-Nazi with a fucking fuck you swastika on the back of his head. Not Paul Blart, by the way. Kevin James is chasing after a young girl who is going to the cabin to sort of get to know her new stepmother, unbeknownst to her. And, of course, everything goes wrong, and she plays a cat and mouse game with these inmates who are also Nazis. Now, she has many ways that she dispatches these Nazis in the movie, and they are glorious. This is one of the better kill movies in the year, I would say. I don't know where that placed for you, but for me, it was definitely high up there. There was many scenes that I argued over which one would be the best, and there's one in particular that always gets my attention. There is, of course, the one at the end where she rolls over his face, but I want to draw attention to the one where she basically just stabs a guy in the neck with a fucking ruler and a pile of colored pencils repeatedly. She sticks the ruler in his neck and kicks it through the other side. Brutal. Now, I don't know about you. Some people compared this movie to Home Alone. I don't think I remember seeing that scene in that movie.
Number 5.
Now, as I mentioned before, there's some movies that you watch and they may not be top 10 potential, top 15, whatever. But there was one movie that had actually a really cool kill, and that was from the movie Aquaslash. In the movie, if you've seen it, they have a scene where someone drills holes in the tubes of a water slide park and sticks two saws over each other in a cross-cut fashion. Waits to the next day for them for their competition. Everybody goes down 3 separate slides, but one has the crosscut. And what do you get when you have a freaking killer who puts 2 saws together in a crosscut fashion? Well, you get a lot of blood and guts. The first kill going down the slide is probably the best, but there are a few that kind of go on and continue on and more body parts pick up. But I want to give it to the first one here. I thought it was funny. What about you guys?
Number 4.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this movie in some fashion, because there was some great gore in this movie, and the intensity of this movie was just perfect. I love this movie. I'm an H.P. Lovecraft fan. I'm a Nick Cage fan. It is Color Out of Space. And you might be wondering, which scene am I talking about? It's the goodbye mom-son portion. Now, keep in mind, I love gore just as much as the next guy. And this scene does have gore, but not entirely. It does pan away for a little bit for the combo kill of the mom and the son, who have been melted together previously by the powers of the color out of space. And the meteorite that, of course, hits the ground. Should only be one kill, right? You can't count both of them. Well, they're melted together, so... And they're inaudible screams and cries, and before they take them up to the attic was just fucking fucked up. Like, what would you do if you saw your mom and your son melted together, screaming in agony in this twisted nature? When the cops show up and hear Lavinia scream upstairs because her mother has turned into an arachnid creature with her son melted on her back, and she's being tackled by her mom brother, good old Nick Cage shows up to finish the job with his shotgun, popping the mom arachnid in the face and pointing the gun at the kid on the back of the mom, who's screaming, "Daddy!"
They're not my family.
That's a pretty fucking good kill scene.
Number 3.
Hunter x Hunter came out towards the end of the year, and it is a movie that is, of course, one of those movies that leads you to believe that it is something entirely different than it sets you up to believe. In this story, a family go out and they live out in the wilderness to carve a piece of their own Americana in the woods and live off the land via hunting and foraging and basically living without society. And they come across a killer in the wild, which happens to be a wolf that has been there previously. But this time, it's something different. And as we find out, it's a serial killer. One that the father decides to track and hunt down without letting the mom and the daughter know. And this, of course, leads to his demise. And not letting the mom know means that he's wandered off into the forest, and she is the one that actually saves the serial killer from being hurt and dying. He plays nice for quite a while in his dying state, and she nurses him back to health. She comes back to find out that he has killed and sexually assaulted his daughter. After she gets knocked out, she wakes up and gets the jump on him, ties him up, and to our surprise, skins him like every animal they've ever skinned in the forest. For the finale, rips off his face while he's still alive, throwing the face on the ground in front of the cops who've surrounded the place to protect her. This ending kind of caught me off guard. Most of the movie is a little steady pace, but this one, he eventually dies too, so I count this one as my number 3.
Number 2.
Now, if you've never heard of Necrostorm and you are a gore fan, there's probably something wrong with you. Necrostorm has been putting out films like Adam Chaplin, Inferno, and many others that are just filled to the brim with gore. And Little Red Necro just came out this year, and while I didn't exactly enjoy the movie entirely, it is pretty fucking graphic. There are some great kills, including some woman getting knifed in the face multiple times and then ripping off her face and then throwing her brains in a fucking skillet. But that's not even the best. No. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now. This is one of the best kill sequences of 2020, and I can do that because it's my fucking list. What are you gonna do about it? But it is some of the most glorious 5 to 6 minute gore spread that will make any gorehound family happier than shit. Fist pulverizing glory.
And now for number 1.
Now for my number 1, this one just wow. There's a movie that came out this year. It's an independent film, and they are by 2 guys who are just fantastic. Wasn't my favorite movie of the year or anything, but I think it's worth watching, and that is Hosts of 2020. Now, not the Host movie that Shudder has, not the live footage movie. It's called Hosts, plural. Now, not only is this an effective gore scene, but the emotional sort of dialogue that winds it up is probably one of the more devastating hits in the entire fucking year. And I mean, literally, this was one of the moments that just was like, it threw my fucking emotions all over the place. It's essentially about a family who is having Christmas dinner, and they invite the neighbors over for this dinner celebration. And the guests that come over all of a sudden get infected by some sort of weird, supernatural, alien, not sure what, but their eyes start to glow and they get really weird. Now, one of them gets up at the table while they're all sitting down talking to Mom, who reveals over wine that she has beat cancer, and she is now in remission, which everybody celebrates, and it's a really happy, very heartfelt moment. And that's when the guest takes a hammer and smashes her head into a pulp.
Come on.
Holy fucking shit. That's one hell of a Christmas present. Now, the movie may not have been on my top 15 or even 30. Probably one of the best, most savage wind-ups in fucking horror history almost. That's why I'm giving Hosts from 2020 the King of the Kill. Kudos to you guys for the movie Hosts. I think it's worth a watch if you give it a chance. Congratulations to all of you. I know this is just my channel and my little fun thing, but I wanted to do something different for the new year that I hadn't done. And I've seen a lot of movies, so I can tell you that I've seen a lot of kills. And there are many other kills out there, guys, that I enjoy. I'm a gore hound, so of course there's going to be stuff I miss and probably stuff that I just forgot. You know, when you've seen so many movies, you try to do your best. You try to write down all the kills that you like. And next year, we're going to do it again. If you haven't checked out the new Top 30 Horror of 2020, check out the podcast in the link below and listen to it and see what you think, if any of those picks are on there. But thank you guys so much. Let me know what you think of these kills and were any of these on your list. But other than that, thank you so much for coming by. And as always, long live the void.